Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dhanlakshmi here from Tally Solutions. Before we start the session, can you all please confirm through the chat window if my voice is audible and the screen display is clear to all of you? Thanks for the confirmation. Let us start today's session. In today's session, we are going to discuss about the payroll management. So in this session, we will be discussing how payroll feature is being given so that you can enable and start using it for the salary management purpose. So basically, we are going to see how to configure the payroll feature in the company data if you're already using Tallyprime, and how to create different payroll masters so that we can start recording the transactions. And we will also see, once we create different type of masters, how do we record the salary vouchers. So once we record the salary voucher, we will also take you through the different reports and the forms that is applicable for the payroll. So in this session, we are going to purely discuss about the feature and the functionality part, how you will be able to configure the pay heads, and you'll be able to calculate the salary automatically. So in this session, we will not be discussing about the statutory part like ESI, PF. We will be covering in a different session. So in today's session, we are going to just discuss about how to create the masters and how to start recording the vouchers so that you will be able to process the salary automatically. So this is the outcome of today's session. So during the session, in case if you are having any questions or any clarification, request you to share through the questions panel so that I can take it up either during the session or at the end of the session, and I'll be able to clarify your doubts. Hope the session agenda is clear to all of you. Thanks for the confirmation. Gurudat, in case if you are not able to hear, request you to rejoin and check it out. So currently there is no connectivity issue at my side, because others have confirmed that it's working. Okay, fine. Okay, so now without any delay, let us see how to configure the payroll masters. So before configuring the payroll masters, as I mentioned that first of all, we need to enable this particular feature. So by default, when you create any company in Tallyprime, it will not be enabled. So based on your requirement, you need to enable it. I hope Tallyprime screen is visible to all of you now. So here for today's demo purpose, I have just created a demo company with the name Payroll Management. So in this data, I have not yet created any vouchers or any masters. So in your live data, since you must be already having the data and the vouchers available, so before you enable this feature, we recommend you to take the data backup. So in order to take the data backup, click on data menu, click on backup, provide the destination where you want to take the backup, select the company which you want to backup, and ensure that backup is taken before you go and enable the feature. So once backup is being taken, to enable the payroll feature, click on Alt K company menu, which is on the top bar. Navigate to features option F11. So here you'll get the option to enable the payroll. So you can see here, maintain payroll. So this option is available. You need to enable this option so that you will be able to create different payroll masters and vouchers and generate the reports. And in case if you want to maintain payroll statutory like ESI deduction, PF deduction, or income tax deduction, or national pension scheme. So these kind of statutory details, if you want to maintain, you can enable the second option. So this second option, again, it requires a detailed explanation. So in today's session, we will not be taking you through this payroll statutory. So hence, as of now, I'm disabling this option to no. I'll enter and accept it. So this is how you'll be enabling the payroll feature in the company data in order to start creating the masters. So any doubt in the configuration part, enabling this feature? Others, any doubts? Are you clear with the configuration part? Fine, thanks for the confirmation. Okay, so now once we have enabled the feature, let's now navigate to the masters. So now let us see what are the different type of masters that are available and how we will be able to create them. So when it comes to the payroll master, so the first master that we'll be creating is about the employees. So when we are creating the employees, so obviously it will be very generic. You must be knowing what is employee, right? So employees are nothing but the resources who are working in the organization. So you'll be creating those masters so that the salary can be processed for each employee. So in order to classify these employees, we have two options. One is employee category and another one is employee group. So these are similar to your stock category and stock group or accounting groups. So basically, in case if you're maintaining inventory, you have the option to classify the items, right? Categorize the items into different brands or into different categories or product lines. So for that purpose, we have given stock category and stock group option. Similar to that, for employee classification and grouping, we have given employee category and group. So in case if category and group is not applicable for your organization, and in case if the number of employees are very minimal and everybody are located in the same location and everybody are doing the same kind of the work, so if you do not want the classification, you can directly create the employees under primary group. So you will be able to utilize this employee category and group option when you want to classify the employees into different sections like accounts department, right? R&D department, manufacturing department, or purchase department. So department wise, if you want to create the employee list, you can either use category or the group option, or you can use both to classify your employee. For example, I do have different branches. So all the branches employee details I'm maintaining under one particular data. So in that scenario, the different branches or the locations you can create as category or group, and the different departments you can create either as category or group. So however you want the classification, you can do it using the category or group. So basically two level of classification you will be able to do it using this employee category and the grouping option. I hope I'm clear about the explanation part before we go ahead and see how to create the employees and the groups. Is the concept is clear to all of you about category and group? Any doubts or any clarifications? Okay, thanks for the confirmation. Now let us see how to create these employee groups and the categories. So in order to create any type of masters in company data, you need to click on masters, create option. So with this particular create option, you will be able to create one master at a time. So you can see here, since we have configured payroll feature, so payroll masters is highlighted over here. Under the payroll masters, we are getting as of now employee groups, right? So if you want to get the employee category option, you may click on show more option here. So once you click on show more, you can also see your employee category option over here. So let me create the employee category here. So this is how the employee category creation screen will look like. So here I'm giving employee category as head office employees. So here I'm enabling the option allocate revenue items. So in case if you want to select this particular category during non-revenue items, so non-revenue is basically your payment vouchers, right? So during the payment voucher, in case if you want this particular employee category to appear, in that scenario, you need to enable this second option also, that is allocate non-revenue items. So by enabling this, you will be creating employee category. So once you create this employee category, now let me create an employee group. So employee group and employee category, both are independent masters. So it doesn't mean that I'll be creating the group under the particular category. So that is not the scenario. Both are independent masters. So here I'll be creating accounts department. So under head office employees, I'm creating one group as accounts department. So define salary details. As of now, I'm not going to discuss because before this, we need to create other type of masters also. I'm just skipping this field and accepting it. So similarly, I'll be creating another department over here. Purchase department. I'll enter and accept it. So using this way, you'll be able to create different categories and employee groups here. So there are no any additional options that you need to do. You just need to create these masters so that you will be able to utilize this when you're creating the employees. So once after you create this employee group and category, so next what we will do, we will be creating the employees, right? So you need to click on this employee. So this is how the employee creation screen will look like with the basic information. So currently here it is showing category as primary cost category. You can move your cursor by pressing space bar or backspace and press backspace over here so that you will be able to get the categories that you have created. So currently I'll select head office employees and here I'll be giving the name of the employee, Arun Kumar. And here when it comes to under, it is basically the display of the employee groups. So category of this particular employee is head office employees and he belongs to which department. So since departments have created under employee groups, so here I'll be classifying whether he's from accounts department or from the purchase department. So I'll select here accounts department and then I'll be entering the date of joining. So these are the general information. So basically general information, it is self-explanatory. General information, we will be using it when we are printing payslip, right? So if you want this general information to be appeared on your payslip, you need to enter all this information in the employee masters. So here I'm just entering some of the information under general information. Location I'm entering. I'm entering the gender. So gender basically is required, especially when you're using income tax feature once after you calculate salary. So obviously for that particular purpose, it is required because it depends on the different assessee types, the slab also may change, right? So currently for female and male assessee, the slabs are same. But in case if there are any changes in the future, accordingly, the system will take the slab rate. So for that purpose, you need to ensure that you will be classifying the gender details over here. So I'm just entering some dummy address over here. So here we have also the option of entering the email ID. So by entering the email ID, it will help you to mail the payslips from Tallyprime directly to employees. So in case if you have configured the email IDs, whichever report you want to share it with your employees, or basically the majorly the payslip. So if you want to email the payslip from Tallyprime to respective employees email ID, then you need to ensure that this email ID has been configured in the employee master. So next option is about provide bank details. So bank details are required in case if you're making the payment of salary through the bank mode. So every time if you do not want to remember the bank details of a respective employee to which account you are making the payment. And this will also help you out whenever you are taking the payment advice so that you can give the instruction to your banker that for this particular employee's account, you are supposed to make the payment of so and so amount salary, right? So in order to generate the payment advice and also to ease the process whenever you are recording a salary payment voucher, the bank details will help you out. So this is again one-time configuration. You can configure this in the employee masters. So here if you just try to enter the IFS code in a or not a valid format, this will also give you the warning. So bank name I'm selecting here. So here you can select the transaction type so that whenever you are recording the salary payment voucher, automatically it will pick the transaction time, and for you not required to select whether you are making the payment through check or refund transfer or any other mode. So here also you can click on show more options so that you will be able to get other transaction types. Accordingly, you will be able to select. So currently I'm selecting as e-fund transfer for especially the net transfers. So you can see here whatever account name I have entered. So here it is appearing. So company bank. So in case if you have created your bank ledger, so that will appear here. Currently I'm just making as end of list. And next field is related to statutory details. So this is basically required when you are deducting the income tax or when you are accounting the PF or you're deducting the ESI details from the employee salary. So currently I'm just leaving this blank, just entering the PAN details. I'll enter and accept it. So this is how you'll be able to create the employee masters. Any doubts so far with respect to the employee creation? And selecting the categorization and also the grouping. Any doubts so far? Okay, so this is about the default option. So we do also have advanced options during the employee creation. So for the advanced option, you can click on this F12 configure option. So once you click on F12 option, so here we do have the additional options to enable passport and visa details. So if any particular employee has traveled to your location for some training or seminar purpose and you want to account salary for such kind of employees, you can go and enable the passport and visa details to provide it. And also if a particular employee is not a permanent employee and if he is working as a contract employee in the organization, and if you want to provide those contract details so that you will be able to print it in the payslip, right? So you can enable the contract details wherein you will be mentioning permit number, that is contract number, contract start date and expiry date. You will be able to mention this. So these are the additional options what we are having while creating the employee masters. I hope this is clear to all of you. So let us proceed with the next masters. So next master is about employees. So anyway, we have seen how to create this. So the next master that we need to create is about the work units. So work units means what? This is basically the unit in which you will be measuring the work done by the employee. So based on the work done by the employee only, you'll be making the salary payment, right? So defaultly, we have days as work unit available in the system. So no need to create that. Based on number of days present, you'll be paying salary to the employee. So days is already available, but it's not available as master, but default it is being embedded in the product. So if you are having other units of work measure like hours or units sold or produced, because in certain organization, especially in the garment, so based on the number of units produced or number of units stitched, the payment will be made. So if that is the way you want to measure the work, you can create a separate work unit. And in certain scenarios, wherever you want to provide the salary based on the number of exact working hours completed by the employee and not the days, because it can be a seasonal work or it can be a one-time work. So in case if that is the situation, you can create the work unit as hours. And there's also some scenarios wherein especially the salesmen who will be paid based on the number of units sold. So if you just want to track their units sold and based on that, if you want to fix a salary, you can also create the unit as units sold. So similarly, in case if you are having any other method in which you will be measuring the work done by the employee, which will be based to calculate the salary, you can create all those work units under the units option. So now let us see how to create these work units. So under the payroll masters, the next option available is units or work. So I'll enter on this. So here I'll create hours. So I'll give the complete name here as hours. So number of decimal places. For example, if you want to give 1.5 an hour work or 2.5 an hour worked, so this decimals 2.5, 1.5. In this method, if you want to define the work done, so you can configure the number of decimal places here. Up to 4 decimal places you can configure here, not more than that. So whatever is your requirement to enter the decimal places, you can mention the same number here and accept it. So similarly, I can also create as units sold. I'll enter and accept it. So just a minute. Okay, so for the unit sold, which we are going to track it in pieces, so I just created the unit as pieces over here. So this is how you'll be creating the work units. Any doubts or any questions here? Any doubts or any questions with respect to the units creation? Okay, so now let us proceed to the next master. So currently we have created the employees and we also created the units in which we want to measure the work, right? So next master would be attendance or production type. So basically attendance or production type we will be creating so that we can account the attendance details of employees. So in case if your work unit is days, so basically you need to define that whether it is based on number of days present or number of days absent you want to calculate salary, how you want to give the condition to systems so that the salary can be calculated, right? So that we create as part of the attendance type here. So if the work unit is days, then attendance type we do create as present, absent. So whatever the attendance details you want to track for the employee, whether it is the leaves, everything, it is possible. So you have to create the attendance type. In case if your work unit is units produced, so based on the number of units produced by the employee, you want to give the salary. So in that scenario, you can also create the production types here. So based on the requirement of the organization, how you want to arrive at the salary, you can either create attendance type or you can either create a production type here. So Vijaya Shankar is asking, we can't keep space in the units. So basically in the symbols, you can't keep the space because it is when it comes to a symbol, the system will identify as one keyword. So if it is having more words, then it will not be accepted. That is the reason it was giving the error message. So we corrected by giving one particular word in the symbol. So now let us see how to create this attendance type. So navigating to the product again. So under the master's creation, you can see here attendance or production type is available. So first I'll be creating as present days. So present days. So how you want to classify this particular attendance type? So you need to tell the system that when it is a present days, obviously it will be with a pay, right? So whenever the employee is present, obviously we'll be making the salary payment to him. So here you need to create or select the attendance type as attendance or leave with pay. So when you're creating the attendance type as absent days, obviously absent means it is leave without pay, right? So you need to classify accordingly. So here I'll be selecting present days as attendance or leave with pay. So similarly, there are certain leave types which are paid leaves, right? Like for example, casual leave or sick leave. So up to a certain leaves, it will be a paid in the organization, right? So casual leave, you can consider as present by the employee, so that whenever you are accounting the attendance, that employee is present for 12 days and 2 days were casual leave. So totally for 14 days, the salary will get calculated. So that is the reason whenever we are creating other type of pays apart from present days, which should be part of attendance or leave with pay, we will be categorizing that under present days. Is it clear why we are creating casual leave or any type of leave under present days? Because those leaves are paid leaves. Any questions here or any doubts? Is this clear? Okay, so now let us accept this. So similarly, we will be having week offs, right? So whatever the number of days week offs that you are giving, so again that will be under present days, because even including the week off, we will be making the payment. So now it comes to absent. So absent, obviously we will not be creating under present days, it will be under primary, and here we will select as leave without pay, because on the absent days we are not going to give any salary, so hence we are creating this under leave without pay. So with this, we will be able to create different type of attendance or production types that is required. Any doubts or any clarification so far? I hope this is clear. So once we create different attendance or production type for the calculation of salary, next is we need to define the salary components. So when we talk about the salary, salary has various components like basic salary, HRA, dearness allowance, right? Different perquisites, different type of deductions as per the organization policy, and different type of statutory deductions are available, right? So different companies will follow different type of pay head components. So basic is majorly common across all the organization, but whatever the different type of allowances the organization gives, that will vary from one organization to another, right? So that is the reason there are no predefined pay heads are available. So whichever type of pay head is applicable for your organization, you can create them and you can create the salary details for the employees. So now let us see how do we create different type of pay heads. So in order to create the pay heads, again from the payroll masters, you need to navigate to pay heads option. So this is how the paid creation screen will look like. So first, as I mentioned, that basic salary is common across all the organization, right? So now let us create the salary component as basic salary. So when you move your cursor to pay head type, we have different type of pay head types here, so that you will be able to classify what type of salary component it is. Is it a earning pay head for the employee, or is it a deduction part, or is it a gratuity, or is it a reimbursement to employees? So what type of deduction or what type of earning it is, you will be able to define that using this pay head type. So when it comes to basic salary or different type of allowances like HRA or telephone allowance or travel allowance or any type of allowances that you're giving, everything will become part of the earnings for employees. And next you will be defining whether it is a fixed income type or variable income type. Though it is not going to have any impact on the reports, still while creating this particular pay head configuration, you can define whether it is a fixed income type or whether it is a variable income type. Variable income type, basically it means that your overtime, which is not paid unless and until the employee has done the overtime, right? And also the performance allowances, which is based on the employee performance, or any rewards, right? So all those are variable, which is not fixed in nature, right? The employee may get it or may not get it. So all type of those variable parts you can create under the income type as variable. So basic salary Obviously, it is part of fixed income for the employee. So here I'll be categorizing this under fixed. So next is the accounting group. So whenever we are creating salary component, so obviously it's a indirect expense for the organization, right? So however you are going to define this particular pay head here, accordingly it will reflect in your profit and loss account. So no need to record another separate salary expense entry once you record the payroll voucher. Automatically, whatever the salary calculation has happened, it will get posted to your profit and loss account. So if you select here as indirect expenses in the profit and loss account, once you record the entry, basic salary value will become captured under the indirect expenses. Next option is affect net salary. You will be enabling this option for the payslip purpose. If you enable this option, then the basic salary value will appear in your payslip. If you disable this option, then basic salary value will not appear in your payslip. So not all the pay head components you will be showing in the payslip, right? So whatever the employer side contributions are there for PF or ESI, those will not be part of the payslip. So whatever is deducted from the employee salary and whatever is computed for the employee salary, only those things will be showing in the payslip, right? So you can enable this option, whichever pay head value you want to reflect or capture in your payslip. So next is used for calculation of gratuity. So you can enable this option. So obviously basic salary will be considered for gratuity calculation. So you can enable this option and you can define the formula. So anyway, about the gratuity calculation, we will be covering in the payroll statutory part. So as of now in today's session, I'll not take you through this particular option. And also the ESI eligibility. So next one is calculation type. So now we have told the system that this is the salary component and this is earning component for the employee, right? And also it should appear under the indirect expenses group under my profit and loss account. So next I need to tell system how to calculate the value for basic salary, right? So we have 5 different type of calculations which you can configure in the pay heads. So first option is as computed value. As computed value means whenever you want to define a formula to calculate this particular pay head value, you can select as computed value. So as computed value, majorly we will be selecting in PF and ESI calculation where based on the basic salary, we will be calculating certain percentage, right? So for those kind of pay heads, we will be calculating based on computed value. So next is as user defined value. As user defined value means you are not defining any methodology to calculate the values, but during the payroll voucher, you are going to manually enter it. Certain deductions in the organizations will be not fixed, right? For example, late attendance. So for example, if the employee is absent or sorry, if the employee has come late for 3 times, so automatically the deduction will not get calculated, right? So those kind of scenario is not there. So in that scenario, what you can do is you can mention as user defined value and whatever the deduction you want to apply on the employee salary, so that pay head you can create under as user defined value. And also the performance based. So quickly, if you want to give any spot award and if you want to give certain cash encashments to the employee, so even those type of pay heads also you can create under as user defined value. So basically, as user defined value means it will allow you to enter the value manually while doing the transaction. These two options are clear, as computed value and as user defined value. Any doubts here? Because even though basic salary is part of gratuity, so by default we will be setting this option to no, because since it is up to user who want to use the feature, by default we are not enabling any option. So he may consider for calculation and he may not consider for calculation. So that is the reason we have disabled this particular option. So if you want to enable, you can enable here. And when you are creating the gratuity pay head, you can define the slabs. That is up to 5 years, there is no calculation, right? So more than 5 years, how many number of days you want to consider? And more than 10 years, how many number of days you want to consider? You can compute those, you can configure those slabs only when you're creating the gratuity pay head. So here, basically, you'll be just enabling this option so that this pay head value can be considered for gratuity calculation. Yes, Mr. Vikas, it's same as ESIC. Okay, so there is a question from Pentagon Space. Could you please explain calculation types? So calculation types are nothing but by default we have 5 different calculation type using which you will be able to calculate the salary. So for example, if you want to calculate the salary on attendance basis or on the production basis based on your requirement, you can select the different type of calculation types here. That is the reason we have given calculation type field here. Gurudat, will take up your question now after we record the vouchers because it is a scenario specific. So moving ahead to the next calculation type, flat rate. So flat rate means it is basically selected for those pay heads which are fixed in nature. So whether the employee has worked 20 days or 10 days or 30 days. So irrespective of that, if the particular allowance or if the particular earning is fixed in nature, so you'll be selecting as flat rate. For example, house rent allowance, you want to give every month as 5,000 fixed, right? So in that scenario, you can select the calculation type here as flat rate. So next option is on attendance. So on attendance, you will be selecting basically when you want to calculate the salary of this particular component based on the number of days present or based on the number of days absent, right? So if you want to apply this kind of a consideration, then you can configure calculation type as on attendance. So here we do have option to select present as well as absent days. So if I select here present days, so I need to ensure that every month on month I'll record the attendance voucher to show how many days the employee is present. So if I do not record the attendance voucher, then I will not be able to calculate the salary. So if you do not want to record number of days present by all the employees, so you want to track only the number of days absent by the employees. So in that scenario, you can set here as not applicable, and here you can select leave without pay as absent. So by enabling this option, what will happen if the employee is not present, if the employee is not absent in that particular month, you can directly record the payroll voucher without recording the attendance voucher. So if you want to ease out the process, you can select leave without pay as absent. In this way, you will be able to configure. But if you want to track the number of present by the employees, you can select attendance or leave with pay as present here. And here you can mention calculation period as month. So for a particular month, based on the number of days present by this employee, basic salary will be calculated. So when I say that the calculation period is month, so how many days in a month the system has to consider? That is what you will be configuring under basis of calculation. So if you select here as per calendar period, this means that in case if you are processing the salary for the month of April, it will consider 30 days, 30 calendar days. If you are processing the salary for May month, it will consider 35 days. Similarly, if you are considering the salary for February month, it will consider 28 days in that particular month. So that is how the base days will be considered based on this basis of calculation. So if you do not want to consider the calendar period, and if you want to define to the system that for every month, irrespective of whether it is 30 days in a month or 31 days in a month, you want to consider standard working days of 26 days, based on which the salary has to be calculated. You can define here as 26 days. So with this, what will happen? So the base days will be selected as 26 days every month, whether it is April, May, June, etc. Right? And based on number of days present, this value will be calculated. For example, if the employee is present for only 15 days, 15 days divided by total 26 days into set fixed basic salary. For example, if basic salary is 10,000, so let me show you that. So if the basic salary fixed one is 10,000 rupees and the employee is present for only 15 days. So our base days is 26 days, right? So only 5,769 will be calculated automatically by the system. So basically here, basis of calculation we will be configuring so that we will be able to set this base number of working days. Based on this, the present days will be considered, and along with that, the actual salary will be computed. Any doubts here? So similar to this user defined, we also have user defined calendar type. So user defined calendar type means every month on month, if you want to define your own working days. For example, in the month of April, it has to consider 26 days. And in the month of May, it has to consider 27 days. And in the month of June, you want to consider 15 days as a base days. If you want to keep on changing every month on month, then you can set the basis of calculation as user defined calendar type. So before I go to the questions, are you guys clear about this basis of calculation, how these three options will work? So basically these three options are provided so that base days can be considered. How to arrive at the base number of days based on which the number of days present by the employee will be considered to calculate the basic salary. Any doubts in these three options? Any doubts in these three options? Bharat Tiwari, are you clear now about the attendance calculations? Okay, thanks for the confirmation. Niladri is asking, ma'am, which option will be best to use? So, Niladri, we are not recommending any specific option because different organizations has different requirements. So, if you can call to our toll-free number, we can understand how you want to calculate and we will be able to suggest. Or you can share your requirement, we will be able to take it up. So Vikas has a question, what about weekly offs in user-defined type? So user-defined type, weekly offs will not be considered. So weekly offs we considered as attendance type, right? So when you record the attendance voucher for weekly off, it is basically part of present days only. So including the present days and the weekly offs, it will be considering the total number of days worked. That is the reason week offs and paid leaves we have created under present days, right? So all those will be automatically considered for the total present days. Any doubts or any questions? Okay, so we'll proceed now. So here to start with, I'm just selecting as per calendar period. I'll enter and accept it. So rounding method option we have given here, so that in case if the salary is calculating in decimals, you can round off here, right? So the system can automatically round off. So if you want that kind of a calculation, you can select the applicable rounding methods here. So I'll enter and accept this now. So similarly, I'll create few more pay heads, house rent, allowance, HRA. So again, HRA will be part of my earnings for employees. So it is fixed. So again, it is part of the indirect expenses for the organization, right? So affect net salary, I'll make this option as is so that my payslip will capture the house rent allowance amount. And here I'll be selecting, for example, flat rate. So here I'll mention months. So usually in certain scenarios, the HRA will be depending on the basic salary, right? So certain percentage of the basic salary, that is up to 40%, you can allocate it to your house rent allowance. So if you want to calculate in that way, so you can select the option as computed value. So under this computed value, I'll select here on specified formula because I want to calculate this HRA, especially only on basic salary, right? So I'll select here on specified formula. So here I'll select the pay head as basic salary. So on the basic salary, I'll select here percentage and here I'll define 40%. So whatever the basic salary the employee gets on a particular month, so based on that value, 40% will be contributed will be calculated towards the house rent allowance. So in this way, if you want to configure, you can select as computed value. So next I'll be creating fixed allowances. Again, this is earnings for employees under indirect expenses. So here I'll be creating flat rate. So since it is fixed in nature, so here I'll mention that for a month it is fixed and a flat rate will be provided. So when I'm defining the salary details, during that time I'll be mentioning the value for this particular pay head because here I've selected as flat rate. So system should know what is that fixed value. So that fixed value I'll be defining when I'm recording a salary details. So here I'll enter and accept it. So next pay head I'll create as telephone reimbursement. So reimbursement are basically, it's nothing but after the employee has incurred the bill or incurred the expenses, based on the bill that is being produced by the employee, you will be making the payment, right? So such kind of medical bill reimbursement or telephone bill reimbursement or internet reimbursement. So all those pay heads you can also create here. So whenever it is a reimbursement, we do have separate pay head type here. So you can select here as reimbursement to employees. Again, it is fixed income type, indirect expenses. And here I'll be selecting as user defined value because since it is a reimbursement, so I'll not be applying any other calculation methodology. So based on the bill submitted by the employee, I'll be entering during the voucher entry as how much I'll be making the payment, right? So that is the reason here I'm selecting as user defined value. I'll enter and accept this. So this is how we will be creating various pay heads. So let me know in case if there are any doubts in these options. Any doubts with respect to pay head creation? The major options we have explained it to you. I hope this was clear to all of you. This can you also please confirm if the option so far, whatever we have discussed, is it clear to all of you? Okay, so Pentagon space, they are asking what about the reduction part? See, when it comes to the reduction, see, we do have two types of deduction. One is statutory deduction and another one is deduction from employees, which are as per the salary structure. Or we also have loans and advances. In case if you have given any loan to an employee or if you have given any salary advance to an employee, which you want to track it, right? So month on month, if you want to deduct. So these type of deductions exist. So deduction from employees are normal deduction, which is part of the, this is salary advance part, and another one is employees statutory deduction. So can any one of you say the normal deduction what will exist in your organization so that accordingly we can create the pay head here? Anybody, can you give the example for any one of the deduction part so that we can create it accordingly? Mohammed, the EPF deduction, since it is part of statutory, we will be having separate webinar on that. So during that discussion, we will take up about the PF, ESI deduction and also the income tax. So let me just take up this late coming penalty itself as deduction. So here, so deduction from employees. This particular salary. So though it is not a direct income for the organization, you can just show it under income for the organization. As user defined by whatever you want to consider. So since it is a penalty, I'll be selecting as user defined value because every month this may not be applicable for the, and here I'm selecting as user defined value. I'll enter and accept it. So now we have created the pay heads. So once after creating the salary components, which is applicable for all the organization employees, so now to define the salary employee. So for different employees, we have employee. So different type of components can be applicable and the value will be different, right? So that is the reason before we start recording the voucher, we need to create the salary details for the employees. So I'll click on, in order to define the salary details, you will be clicking on master's option. You have the option of this defactor option of this define salary. So I'll be the employee or employee group under whichever level I want to define the salary details. So if I specifically select this particular employee, then for the specific employee, I'll be setting the salary details. So you can mention the date here from which date onwards the salary details would be applicable. So whenever there is a revision, you can go and mention the different date here and you can provide the values accordingly. And one more point to note here, whenever you're defining the salary details, you need to ensure that first you will select all the earnings related pay heads and then you'll be selecting the deduction related pay heads. First normal deduction and next you will be selecting statutory deductions in the salary details part. Otherwise, you will end up having the error message whenever you are recording the payroll voucher. So it is important to note that first you'll select all the earnings pay head and then you'll be selecting the deductions. Okay, so now first we are going to select basic salary. So monthly basic salary you'll be entering here whatever is agreed in the offer letter. So for example, if the monthly basic salary is 20,000 rupees and this employee will be getting based on the number of days present, so the same rate here will be entering it. So next I'll select house rent allowance. So for house rent allowance, my cursor is not going to the rate field because house rent allowance have configured as it has to be calculated on basic salary value. That is the reason my cursor is not moving to rate field here. So next I'll select as fixed allowance. For fixed allowance, again the cursor is moved here because I've configured the calculation type here as flat rate. So the fixed rate you will be entering for this particular pay head when you are defining the salary details. So here I've mentioned as 5,000. So next one is telephone reimbursement. So again, this has been created as user defined value, hence my cursor is not moving to rate field. Rate field. So next I'll be selecting the pay head as late coming penalty. Again, it is user defined value, hence my cursor is not moved to rate field. So this is how I'll be defining the salary details. So if there are any ESI, PF and all, so you can create those pay heads, and after these earnings, you can select those statutory pay heads here. Okay, because as a question, why it is particular reason that first we need to select earnings and then deduction. So if you first select deduction and then if you are going to select earnings, so what will happen is whenever you are recording the payroll voucher, it will give you the error message that the values are in negative. Because deductions, what you will do, so deductions will be on the employee salary amount, right? So first of all, if it is not calculating the salary value and if you are just showing the deduction, there will not be any specific value to calculate. That is the reason first we'll select all the earnings and then we will be selecting the deduction part. So again, there is a question from because HRA will be different for different employees. Yes. So with this salary details, you can specify what will be the HRA allowance also. That is the reason I said this is one of the example. That is why I created as computed value. So for different employees, if you want to define different HRA allowances as per the agreement, you can create this HRA under flat rate or as a user defined value. So however is your requirement to calculate the HRA, you can create it accordingly. And if different percentages are applicable, then you can create again different HRA pay heads, HRA at the rate of 40%, HRA at the rate of 20%. So different pay heads you can create, and for respective employees, you can select it accordingly. So Gurudutt has given a example for reduction. The employee has broken a glass table. So obviously you will be recovering this from the employee salary, right? So all these things you can have one pay head as general deductions. And whenever you want to account this, you can select that pay head and you can mention the value of this. Okay, so now we have created this particular salary details. So once after the salary details are created, so next we'll be recording the vouchers. I'm sure up to here, all these options are clear to you. Employee category, employee group, employee units, attendance or production type, pay heads, and then the defined salary. I hope all these options are clear to you now. So these are part of masters. So once the masters are ready, we will be recording the payroll vouchers. So the first payroll voucher we record is attendance voucher, right? So basically attendance voucher, we will be recording it to account present, absent or paid leaves, so that you will be able to generate the attendance register for the employees at any point in time, so that you will be able to track how many people are absent in this particular month. So all those analysis you will be able to do it. So in order to do all those type of analysis recording, you need to create the attendance voucher. So now let us see how to account this attendance voucher. So before this, there is a question from Pentagon Space. They are asking, we have entered one employee. What if we have 1,000 plus employees? We need to enter one by one. So salary details, obviously it will be different for different employees, right? So you have to create salary details separately for each employee. Vikas has a question, can we secure leave record also in Tally? So currently leave record management, this provision is not available because. So we do have certain add-ons developed by the partners. You can check for those extensions or you can get it customized. So currently leave record management is not available. So currently bulk upload option is not available, Pentagon, for respective salary details. See, either what you can do is you can create the salary details at the group level and you can copy paste. So what you can do is, let me show it to you. For example, I'll click on define salary. So here you can see we do have category. We do have employee groups here, right? So you can create the salary details for a particular group. So under the group, in case if the same salary details is applicable for all the employees, it becomes easier for you to copy from the group. For example, for this group, I'm just, sorry, let me select purchase department. So for this purchase department, only basic salary of 25,000, sorry, 25,000 is applicable, house rent allowance, and we are having only fixed allowance. So this is applicable for the employees who are working in purchase department. Okay, so I'll be defining this salary at the group level. So now let me create one employee. So under purchase department, I'm creating this employee. I'll enter it, accept it. Okay, so now in this way you are having so many other employees also under that group. So when you're defining the salary, you'll be selecting this particular employee, right? So once you select this effective date, so we do have this option of copy from parent value. So the moment you click on this copy from parent value, whatever the salary details you have defined in the parent group, automatically it will appear here. So then you can move your cursor, and if you want to define different values, you'll be able to do it. So basically this will ease out the process of selecting these pay heads one by one, and also it will not allow you to miss out any pay heads during the configuration. So if you're having many employees, you can follow this process wherein you will be defining the salary details at the group level. From group to employee, you can copy paste. Hope this will help you in the configuration. Okay, so now coming back to the vouchers. So first we'll be recording the attendance voucher. So in order to record the attendance voucher, I'll be navigating to vouchers. Under the vouchers, we have the option of other vouchers, right? So under the other vouchers, for payroll related, we have two different vouchers. One is attendance and another one is payroll voucher. Simply click on attendance. So once I click on attendance, so we have two options. One is you can select the employees manually and you can fill the details, or you can use the autofill option. So let me change the date. So you can choose to enter this particular attendance voucher at the end of every month. So currently I'll click on this Control F autofill option. I'll select attendance autofill. Voucher date is 30th April. Currently I'm recording this attendance voucher for all items or for all the employees, or for a particular group of employees. If you want to do, you can select the category here accordingly. So here I'll select all items, and currently I'm entering present days. So default value to fill, currently I'm mentioning as 0 because different employees will be present for different days, right? So for Anil Dutt, I'm entering here as 10 days, and for Arun Kumar, I'm entering here as 26 days. So this is only for present days I'm entering. So in this way, if you want to account present days, sick days for different attendance type, using the autofill option, you'll be able to record different attendance vouchers. So if you do not want to record different attendance voucher for different attendance type, so in one voucher, if you want to record it, then you will not be able to use this autofill option. You have to use the manual filling of the details. For example, here I'll be selecting Arun Kumar. I'll select absent as 2 days. So then I'll select week 2 days. So in this way, manually, if you want, you can do it by selecting all the type of attendance or production type. So if you are using autofill, at any point in time, only one attendance type can be selected and it can be filled for the respective all the employees. So however is your practice to make? In case if you are having many employees, then we recommend to go with the autofill option. If you are having very less number of employees, like 5 to 10, then you can go ahead and manually fill the details here. So Urvi has a question, can we use Excel to import all these data, or we will have to add one by one? So currently we do not have the option to import vouchers from Excel. So that is our team is working, and it is going to come in the upcoming releases. So currently if you want to import the data from Excel to Tally, you can get it customized, Ms. Urvi. So currently by default feature, this is not available. So I've entered and accepted here, right? So after I record the attendance voucher, the next voucher I'll be recording is payroll voucher. So if you're having any user defined pay heads defined in the employee salary, first you need to record the payroll voucher for user defined. Only after that, recording the payroll voucher for salary, right? So payroll salary, before this, we need to create this user defined payroll voucher, because salary means it is the total value that you are going to compute, right? So since some of the pay heads we have created under user defined, once we give values for them, then only the remaining salary will get calculated. That is the reason, first, whenever we are creating the pay heads under user defined, we need to ensure that first we create the payroll voucher for user defined pay heads, and then we create the payroll voucher for the salary calculation. Now let us see how to do this. So again, here I'll be navigating to vouchers. So under the vouchers, so here I'll be selecting other vouchers. Under the other vouchers, here I'll be selecting payroll voucher, or Control F4 is the shortcut key to record the payroll voucher. So whenever you are recording payroll voucher, it is strictly recommended that we need to use autofill option. If you do not use this autofill option, then the respective reports will not capture the values. So autofill is must be used in the payroll voucher, whereas it is not mandate in the attendance voucher. So I'll select payroll autofill. So here I do have two options, whether you want to record for user defined or for salary. So first I'll select user defined. I'll select the month from 1st April to 30th April. Currently I'm processing the salary. So here I'll be mentioning that particular date. I'll select the employee category. Either I can select all items in case if you want to calculate the salary for all items at one, for all the employees in one go, or you can select a specific employee for whom you want to calculate the salary, right? So here we will be having option to select salary payable ledger. So currently we have not created. So in case first you want to account the expenses and then later on you want to make the payment, in that scenario you have to create a salary payable ledger. So in order to create that, simply click create option here. Salary payable. Select the pay head type as not applicable and create this under current liabilities, because since it is a salary payable, it is the liability of the organization to make payment to the employee. So hence we will be creating the salary payable pay head under not applicable type and categorize this under current liabilities. Enter and accept this. So what are the pay heads for Kumar we have created and user defined value? Those pay heads will appear here, 1,000 rupees, and late coming penalty is 200 rupees. So you can see here automatically total is 800 rupees credit. So narration will get captured automatically. You can press enter to access this voucher. Tahim, tomorrow you may click on the same link so that you'll be able to get the recorded webinar. So I'll press enter and accept this now. After this, now next I'll be recording the voucher for salary process, right? So again, I'll be recording the payroll voucher using the autofill option. So this time here I start salary. I'll select for same period, process list. I'll select for same head office employees, Arun, and here I'll select payroll ledger as salary payable. So you can see here basic salary considering the number of days present and absent it has considered, right? So basic salary was set at 20,000 rupees, right? So 20,000 into 28 days was present and 2 days was absent. So 28 days will be considered. So you can see here accordingly the basic salary is getting calculated. So on this basic salary 40% is calculated as house rent allowance. Fixed allowances was flat rate. So hence 5,000 rupees automatically it has captured here. So this is how the automatic calculation of salary will happen. So now we have processed the salary, right? So once we process the salary, we can now record the salary payment voucher so that we will be able to account the salary paid to the employees. So before going to the salary payment, you can navigate to payment advice and you can give the instruction to the banker. So you can, in order to access the payroll reports, you can now navigate to display more reports. We do have a separate menu for payroll reports here as payroll reports. Click on this. We will be having different reports available here for generation. For example, now I want to generate this payment advice so that I'll be able to give instruction to my banker. So what I can do is I can click on this payment advice. I'll configure the payment voucher period 1st April to 30th April, employee category all items, right? So I'll click on preview. Okay, just a minute. So employee category, I'll select head office employees, employee group as accounts department. Bank ledger, since we have not created any bank ledger, we can create it here. For example, company is having account in HDFC Bank. So here I'll be creating one bank ledger. So salary period is 1st April to 30th April. I'm generating this as on 13th July. So if you want more options to be configured, you can click on this show more option so that if you want to capture the employee number, bank name, branch, so IFS code of that particular employee bank details. So all these options you can capture here. So you can also generate the payslip from this payroll reports. You can click on this payslip. Either you can generate for all items, that is for all employees, or for a particular specific category of the employees here. So once you record the payroll voucher, you'll be able to generate this payslip. So this is the default format. If you want in a vertical format, you can click on this F12 option and you can enable this vertical format. So in this format, you will be able to take the printout. So whatever the present days and the week offs is there, so the attendance details are here, so that employee will understand that. So gross salary is 20,000, but he has got only 18,000 because of this absent number of days. So all this information you'll be able to print it in the payslip and you'll be able to generate it and share it with the employee. So this will be the gross salary. Gross salary is nothing but the salary which has been offered in the offer letter to the employee, right? Same thing we have defined it in the salary details. So from there it will pick the gross salary details, and from the voucher the amount column will be picked. So now the net salary that is payable is 31,933 rupees, considering the deductions. So this is total earnings and this is total deductions. So in case if you are maintaining PF ESI, so those part will become part of the deductions column. So including that, the net amount will be calculated. So based on this, let us record the payment voucher. So in order to record the salary payment voucher, I'll click on FI payment voucher. And here also we will be getting this Control F autofill option. So again, for the salary payment, you need to ensure that you use the autofill option. So from which period to which period the payment is being made, you need to select head office employees. I'll select the employee here, salary payable and HDFC Bank. So you can see here the net salary payable has captured after considering all the deductions. So since based on the employees the bank allocation, here it has captured. So if I select here refund transfer, so you can press F12 here and you can enable different options like flavoring name, remarks, email ID. All these options you can consider here. For refund transfer, so I'll mention the account number. So I'll mention the remarks here, email ID, arun@gmail.com. I'll enter and accept it. So with this, we have recorded the payment voucher. So once we record the payment voucher, let me navigate to reports, payment advice. Okay, so about this payment advice, I'll just get back to you why it is not capturing the details. So once we record this particular payment advice, you can go to this pay sheet. You can mention the date here for the month of April. So basically, pay sheet is a report which will be able to generate for all the employees at one shot. So for all the employees at one shot, if you want to understand how the breakup of salary is and what is the net amount of salary that you have paid, and you want to extract this in Excel, that is also possible. You can also export this in Excel format and you can keep it as per the records. So either you can print it or you can export it in PDF, or also you can export it in the Excel format also. So file format you can select here as Excel, so that this report you'll be able to export it in Excel and share it with your management. So basically, pay sheet is a report which will give you the details of all the employees' salary breakup and also the net amount that is payable or paid. Let me take a few questions. Urvi has asked a question, can we have this option? We can freeze these pay heads and amount, and every month only attendance days needs to be changed and entry is posted automatically. So this provision of automation we currently do not have, Urvi. So you need to ensure that you will come and record this attendance and payroll voucher every month on month. So automatic posting of the entry currently that is not available. So Gurudut has a question, how do I pay from 7th to 6th of the next month? So in case if you want to pay on a different date, so that is what we had the option of voucher date here, right? So let me just show it to you. So when we were accounting the payment voucher, let me just show you in the next voucher itself. So in the payment voucher, once you press Control F, so we have this option of from and to, right? So this will be the salary period, and we have the option of voucher date. So voucher date, you can enter the 6th or 7th of the next month on which you are going to record this entry. That is basically the payment date. Kaushal, I have recorded the payment entry. I hope this is clear to you. So Gurudut has a question. If I have done the Google Pay to my employee for the salary, how do I account for it? So basically that is a part of the, just a minute, let me just check on this. So wallets are not part of the transaction types currently, whatever type of wallet that you have used to make the payment of salary. So in that scenario, you can simply click on this others option, and whatever the wallet reference ID that you have got once after the making payment, you can just mention that under instrument number and you can accept it. So currently we do not have that wallets option under the transaction types. Because as a question, if we give gratuity payable starting from day one, how do we calculate and show in payslip as payable? So gratuity as payable, we will not be showing that. So payslip is basically the breakup of all those salary details, which is actually paid and deducted from the employee salary, right? So gratuity is something like employer contribution. So that will not get deducted on the employee salary, and basically generally no one will show it on the payslip. But however, if you want to give it as a breakup to your employee, you can generate the pay sheet and you can give the breakup record to your employee. For example, you will be creating here as a gratuity pay head, right? So create here as gratuity pay head under gratuity. So gratuity days of a month, for example, 15 days from 1 month to 60th month. So eligibility days for gratuity calculation is 0, 61 to 120 is 26 days, for example. And accept it. Right, so this is how gratuity pay head you will be creating it. So once after you create, you can navigate to display more reports, payroll reports, and you can click on this gratuity summary. So I'll give next 3 days here. So April 2022, first to give 31st March 2030. So since the employees number of salary voucher has not crossed 5 years, it is not showing the amount. So wherever you want to generate this summary based on the number of years the employee completed, so you can generate this report and you can share it with your employee. So we also have the option of employee wise. So wherein employee wise it will show date of joining and date of leaving and gratuity eligible salary, gratuity amount. So till period what has been calculated, you can show that, extract it from here, and you'll be able to share it with your employee. So anyway, gratuity part will be taking up once we are covering the statutory part about this particular payroll. So if anybody is interested to join the payroll statutory part, you can navigate to our tallysolutions.com website. So on the website, we have this resources option. Under the resources, we have this events and webinars. So click on this events and webinars. It will take you to the calendar view. So you can see here the next session on payroll is on 15th, that is payroll management Q&A. So whatever the different type of questions you are having which requires a detailed explanation, we'll take up in that particular session. So Pentagon, you also have a question related to a salary on hold, full and final settlement arrears, right? So you can join this session wherein we will be able to show you the detailed steps how to do this. So coming back to the reports, we discussed about payslip and payslip. So similarly, we have attendance sheet here. So attendance sheet, I'll be changing the period to April. So you can see here, employee wise, here you will be able to get the attendance sheet details. So how many employees are present for in that particular period. So all these details you'll be able to get it in a columnar way. So next report is employees without email ID. So quickly, if you want to know who are the employees under which master you have not yet given employee email ID details, and quickly if you want to configure the contact number and email ID, you can do the same thing from this particular report. I'll enter and accept it. So again, if I navigate to employees without email ID, so pending employees list will not appear here. You can click on this all employees option. So at a time, if you want to know the details of all the employees email IDs, you can also export this report from here. So you can click on export, click on current, click the file format as Excel in case if you want in Excel, and you can send it. So it will get exported to Excel format. So next one is payroll statement. So payroll statement, again, it is the breakup of different salary pay heads that you have created. For example, if I select basic salary for all the employees, what is the exact basic salary you have paid during the period? It will display here. So you can see here employee wise basic salary. If you want to know the report, you can come and generate here. So under the payment pay sheet, you will be getting all the pay heads. So specific pay heads only if you want to know, you can come to payroll statement and you can generate the report. So next report we have is employee pay head breakup. So under the employee pay head breakup, once you select basic salary at a department level, it will give you the opening balance, debit and credit amount. So in this particular format, if you want to view the breakup of the salary, you can select this particular option. So if you select pay head employee breakup, so in this one, what will happen at an employee level, you will be able to generate. So if you select for a particular employee, you can mention the period. So during that period, whatever is the salary payable and whatever the breakup of indirect incomes and indirect expenses are there or statutory deductions are there. So group wise, you'll be able to get the view here. You can also click on this ledger wise option. Ledger wise means it will give you the details at the pay head level. So detailed breaker, if you have made the salary for this particular employee, you will be able to make the salary payment. It will show under credit. So if you have not yet moved, so in case you have made the salary payment, then all the values it will appear only under the. So next we do have register, payroll register and attendance register. Basically it's just a month-wise view wherein you can just go and check it out how many vouchers you have recorded. Similarly, your attendance register also. So this is not a specific report, it is just a register. And with respect to employees, we have certain reports, for example, employee profile. So once you select this particular employee, based on the details, whatever you have entered in the employee master, so it will give you the detailed profile of this particular employee. Basic information, general information, bank information. So complete profile, if you want to extract for an employee from here, you will be able to do this. So next is employee headcount. Employee headcount means at any point in time, if you want to go and analyze how many people have newly joined in this particular month, or what is the closing balance of the employees, what is the opening balance of the employees, you'll be able to do it. So newly joined, based on the date of joining you have entered, it will fall under the different months. And also we have the option to enter the resigned or retired date, right? So in case if any employee has left, you can mention the resignation date, and accordingly closing balance will get impacted. For example, in order to enter the resignation date, you can go to masters, alter, select employee here. For example, I'll select Anil Dutt. So only in the employee alteration screen, you'll be able to get the date of resignation or retirement. So here I'll mention 5th May 2022. I'll enter, accept it. So once I enter the resignation date, I'll navigate to display more reports, payroll reports, employee headcount. So you can see now here resigned or retired. Now here it is showing as 1 count, right? So accordingly, my closing balance is showing as 1. So at any point in time, if you want to understand how many people there, in which particular alteration is higher, or in which particular month newly joined is higher, you'll be able to do that analysis from this particular summary. So the last report we have in the payroll is expat report. So expat reports is basically the additional information what we have given in the employee master. So passport, visa and contract we discussed whenever we were creating the employee master, right? So if you want to go and check all your contact employee details, you can come to this expat reports and you can generate the details here. So currently I have not configured this information in any employee master, hence this report is blank. So wherever you have configured the contact details of the employee, so those employees details will come and capture over here. So you can know that whoever is contract expiry date is nearing, whether you are going to renew that or whether they will be left, so that you can mention the retirement date or resignation date. So those decisions you'll be able to take up from this particular report. So these are the various reports what is available in Tallyprime for the payroll specific. So let me know if you are having any doubts so that we can discuss. So meanwhile, I'll take up Gurudat's question, which he had asked earlier. How do I pay another company employee with whom my company has memorandum of understanding, who is paid on number of units installed? So Gurudat, in case if the particular person belongs to some other company, first of all, you will not be showing him as employee, right, in your books of accounts. So whatever the amount that you are going to pay based on the units installed, that will be purely an expense for the organization. And it's recommended that either you use the journal voucher and payment voucher to make the payment to the another company's employee. So in case if you are going to record him as employee, then in case if you are recording the income tax and also during the audit, it will be a concern why this particular person has been created as organization employee. So those questions can be arise. So that is the reason it is better that you account it using the payment voucher and do not create as an employee. So with this, we have come to an end of the session. So in case if there are any further more questions, we'll be happy to take up and we'll be resolve them or clarify them. Gurudat, you can check out the detailed recording session. So anyway, you can use the same link to go through the session recording. So whichever link today you guys have used to join the session, by clicking on the same link, you'll be able to view or download the session. But that will take some time once we close the session. So we recommend you to check after 3 or 4 hours of the particular session. So tomorrow also you can check it out. So if you're still not able to get the session link, you can write a mail to support@tallysolutions.com. That is our support ID. So you can mention the webinar details when you have attended and also the topic. So team also will be able to share you the recorded session link in case if you're not able to get it. Okay. Mr. Verma, I'll be mentioning the support mail ID in the chat so you guys can go through this. So, Mr. Gurudat, in case if your question is different on the payment, you can share it with me now so that I'll be able to clarify. Okay, so Gurudat has a question. The accounting feature of payroll would not be available if I make payments. It will be available. So as I mentioned during the payhead creation itself, no need to show separately for the accounting purpose. That is the reasons we have given the grouping whenever you are creating a payhead, right? So once I record the salary payment voucher, so accounting part means it is your balance sheet and profit and loss account, right? So once you record the payroll voucher, obviously all the amount will be accounted using the salary payable ledger, which is part of current liability. So once you make the salary payment, it will become part of your profit and loss account wherein you will be showing them as expenses. So you can drill down to profit and loss account. So you can see here, whatever the salary you have made to the employee, automatically it is captured under your profit and loss account. So no need to record separate any entries. Automatically it's taken care. Okay, thanks for the confirmation, Gurudat. So since we are not receiving any further more questions, we'll be winding up today's session. I hope this session was helpful to all of you to know and understand about the payroll features and various reports that we are having. So for immediate help on the support, what you can do is from the product itself, you can navigate to F1 help option. So under the help option, we have Tally Help. So this is the exclusive Tally Help website in which we are captured all the document and videos on the various topics. So you can navigate to home page and you can search for the payroll related articles here or any queries that you're having on the product. For example, if I enter here as payroll, So we have payroll frequently asked questions, payroll in Tallyprime, right? You can click on this to know the features once again and how to create the employees, groups, categories along with the screenshots is available over here, right? So you can click on this option, for example, pay heads if you want to understand. So how do you create the earnings pay head, deduction paid? All this information is available over here. So with using this particular tally help, you'll be able to do the self-help. So from the product itself, you'll be able to navigate. So thank you so much once again for all of you to attending the today's session and participating and sharing your questions. Hope to see you in upcoming session. Thank you once again. Have a good day.